Welcome, Crossover Report, here with our web series, Three Guys, One Mic, Paul Lamb, Nick Damiani, myself, Neil Doyle. So this episode, I believe it's like our 10th or 11th, kind of getting some videos out there for you. Obviously, last night, big hype in the NBA was #1 Warriors in the West going up against the #2 San Antonio Spurs. There's been a lot of hype about this game over the last week or so. Obviously, both of these two teams with the two best records in the NBA. So a lot of people were excited for this game. It's their first matchup. They have 4 times they're going to play each other this year, and to maybe not, I don't know, some people may be shocked about the outcome yesterday, maybe some people not really, but 120-90, the Warriors dominated the Spurs, to say the least. What the Warriors have been doing all year, Steph Curry, 37 points, had 5 steals. For the Spurs, obviously they had no Tim Duncan, which I don't know if that makes a huge amount of a difference, but he was not playing last night for them. And then their leading scorer was Kawhi Leonard, who only had 16 points. So I don't know, just maybe kind of what are your guys' takeaways from the game last night, and were you maybe at all shocked by the outcome?
I wasn't really, I don't know if shocked is the word, because the Warriors are going to put up 115, 120 on you. I was really shocked at the Spurs, how poorly they played. They didn't have a guy take double-digit shots. I mean, if you're Kawhi Leonard, you can't take 6 shots in a game. If you're LaMarcus Aldridge, you can't take 9 shots in a game. You got to get the ball up no matter what. And then secondly, defensively, I think the Warriors had 6 guys in double digits, including, Sean Livingston and Brandon Rush and Maurice Speight. How are you going to win a championship if you're letting Maurice Speight get 11, 12 points on you, if you're letting Brandon Rush drain threes on you? I thought defensively they really just did not show up, and that's supposed to be their strong suit. Offensively, I mean, the struggles are whatever, but defensively they were just embarrassing.
I was shocked they lost by 30 points. That's supposed to be the second best team in the NBA. I mean, and the Warriors, this is so impressive. They beat the Cavs by 30, they beat the Bulls by 30, and now they beat the Spurs by 30. All 3 of those teams are supposed to be teams that, in a way, could contend in some way. And now it makes you think, how much parity is there in the NBA? Are the Warriors this high and the Spurs the next best team all the way down here? Is there that much of a gap between those 2 teams is what I'm starting to wonder, because 30 points is just absolutely ridiculous with Tim Duncan or without Tim Duncan. It's unbelievable. That's unexcusable for the Spurs. And it's really making me look at this, and I thought the Cavs loss was just like, but I mean, they're doing this, it seems like, on a regular basis now. This Warriors team, I was almost like, yesterday I was thinking like they're like the Monstars versus the Space Jam people, yet they're led by that little dude. You know what I'm talking about? The little-ass Monstar is Steph Curry, and he's the one that's the best player on their team, not the big dudes. I mean, they're killing everybody, and it's unbelievable. I wasn't worried. I don't care about the Spurs right now. I just thought they're beating people by 30 points. The best teams in the entire NBA are losing by 30. 30. They're not even in the games in the second half. Well, how do you stop them? I'm almost ready to say that they could run the table in the playoffs and they won't lose a game.
No, shut up.
I mean, granted the playoffs. No, but okay, the playoffs are a whole different atmosphere, but they're beating people by 30.
No,
the
okay,
best
but
teams by 30.
No. Here's the thing with the Warriors, though, is that they get real hyped up about these big games against the Cavs, against the Spurs, but do you think they can do it for a whole series? They turn the ball over a lot. People don't notice that. They have like the 5th most turnovers per game in the league. They turned the ball over 21 times last night. Over a series, I think that's going to come back to bite you.
For maybe one game. Maybe one game. They're scoring 120 points per game. There's nobody that can score with them, even close to that.
Absolutely not. But I think once you can take away that momentum and that adrenaline from them, I think you can beat them. You just can't let them drain threes on you, 4 possessions in a row. You can't allow that, which I know is easier said than done. But I know I've always been a Warriors hater, but like I'm not that I'm not convinced, but I'm not ready to go all the way and say they're going to run the tables with ease.
I don't know. The Spurs. I thought the Spurs were. Oh, Doyle, talk. You got something to say?
Well, here's what I want to say. Obviously, as Nick starts talking about playoffs and how the Warriors could go not lose a game, obviously something that always gets talked about is Greg Popovich is not a big believer in the regular season, doesn't, give guys a lot of minutes, wants to keep them healthy for playoff time. Obviously, both of these 2 teams are the 2 best teams in the league. The Warriors now moved to 41-4. They're 21-0 at home, which is ridiculous. Spurs still sit there. They're 38-7, not too shabby themselves. And it is interesting. I heard something earlier. Chris Mannix of Yahoo Sports was talking about on the Dan Patrick Show earlier that, how Popovich doesn't really care about these regular season games as much. Was there any chance at all last night that maybe he wasn't giving the Warriors all the Spurs hand, not showing the Spurs hand totally? I don't think anybody averaged more than 27 minutes last night on the Spurs, which is typical for a Popovich regular season game. But is there any way, not that Popovich threw the game, but wasn't really showing the Warriors all that the Spurs have last night?
They're getting their ass kicked.
No, well, yeah.
That's why nobody played for a long time.
Well, no, but I think not playing Duncan was that kind of move by Popovich, where it's not worth playing Duncan, him getting hurt when you're going to need him in a 7-game series. But at the same time, I don't know that Pop really he doesn't try to lose games. I mean, at the end of the day, they don't have anybody that can guard Steph. Patty Mills can't do it. Tony Parker can't do it.
No.
Kawhi tried to do it, and you saw how that worked. He got shook a couple times. And so I don't know if he didn't play a couple cards, but he didn't really have that many cards to play with to start.
It was interesting. I don't know. I thought that was something that was interesting that was said earlier in the day that I don't think it really is true at all. Like Nick said, Spurs were dominated last night by the Warriors. And then as you guys were kind of talking about, I think the next thing then to look at is there really anyone that's going to be able to contend with this Golden State team if they're healthy come playoff time? I mean, you look at it, and whether it be West or Eastern Conference, in my mind, it's either the Spurs or Golden State that comes out of the West, and now you're looking, can the Spurs even be able to contend with Golden State? But if it's not the Spurs or Golden State that comes out of the West, it's going to be either one of those teams that comes out of the Western Conference is going to win the finals, I think, in my mind, no doubt. But now you look at it with how big of a dominant win that was last night for Golden State. Is there anybody that can contend with this team, or is this going to be for sure another Warriors championship this season?
If the playoffs were to start right now, there's nobody that can contend with the Warriors, but luckily there's still half a year left, and a lot can happen in that time. Like you said, they have to be healthy by then. We'll say they're healthy. Still, the Spurs are probably going to get better. Their chemistry is only going to get better with LaMarcus Aldridge in the lineup, and Tim Duncan should be healthy at the end of the year. So I think the Spurs aren't 30 points away from the Golden State Warriors in talent-wise, and that's just not how it is. It was a bad night, you could say that. I mean, the Warriors are very impressive, and I think a lot of people are going to have trouble lasting 7 games with them. But the best team that could contend with them is the Spurs. The Cavs, I think they're making another adjustment now with their head coach, and they've always had chemistry problems. It feels like Kevin Love just doesn't look right there. There's just a lot going on. I feel like the Spurs have the best chance at them.
I'm going with OKC still. I think we talked about this a couple of videos ago.
That's true.
I mean, you still have Westbrook and Durant. Those are 2 of the top 5 best players in the world. And then even inside, Serge Ibaka has been able to be more dual threat recently. I think they could really benefit from a trade at the deadline to get a 2 in replacement of Deion Waiters. I think Deion Waiters could be their Achilles heel in the playoffs, or Andre Roberson. But still, I think OKC, just because we haven't seen them play Golden State yet, so they're like the last team, the last man standing that could beat them. Now Golden State could very well beat them by 35 too. Yeah, what?
Do you guys think Golden State's going to beat the Bulls' record?
No, I don't think so. I think at some point they're going to get an injury. I think Klay Thompson's going to get hurt, or I think Draymond Green's going to get hurt. I think they're going to come into something some point during the year. If they don't have any injuries, I don't see why they wouldn't.
About you, Doyle?
I think they get it. Like Paul said, barring an injury, but I even think obviously losing a piece like Draymond Green or Klay Thompson or Curry would be huge for them and would be a difference if one of them were to get injured. But I still think this team believes in what they're doing. They've bought into this system, and it's working for them. So even if like a Klay Thompson went down, yes, I think you might see him lose a game or 2 in that stretch. But they'd be able to, I think, figure it out, and they have so many pieces of guys to throw in there. I think they break the record. I just think they've been way too good this year not to. So that's been a lot of topic, obviously, also. It's just another win moving towards them breaking that record. So, as we said, 41-4 now on the season for Golden State. Spurs right behind them at 38-7. Next time these two teams will face again is in mid-March. That is Saturday, March 19th. That one's going to be in San Antonio. Still 3 more games between these two teams, so we could see what happens, and it's going to be the talk anytime these two teams play, obviously, with both of them being the best in the NBA. But surprising game last night, to say the least. Golden State won it by 30, 120 to 90. Had to talk about it. It's been the talk all morning today, all over the sports realm, these two teams. But I think that's going to do it for us. It was an interesting game. Any final thoughts on that?
Wait. Hold on.
What?
Here, this. Watch this. Never mind. Good. Nothing.
All right. That's
Trying to do something I'm not ready for.
That's going to do it for us. At Crossover Report, you can always follow us on Twitter. Go to crossoverreport.com. Check us out there. All of our articles, our tweets are on there. You can go on and like us on Facebook. Once again, I want to thank everyone for all the support. I believe I checked just a little bit ago. I think we're like, I don't know if any of you checked on Twitter. We're like 4 or 5 followers away from 2,000, I think. Or am I wrong on that?
You're probably right.
I think I looked at that a little bit ago. So
Get us to $2,000.
want to thank all the support that we've had. We're going to continue to grow for you, but want to thank everyone out there watching. That's going to do it for us. We'll have plenty of videos for you coming up in the weeks to come. But for Paul Lamb, Nick Damiani, myself, Neil Doyle, Crossover Report, 3 guys, 1 mic. We'll see you next time.